This has Red Sox fans very concerned, as after a lackluster at best trade deadline for Craig Breslow and the Sox, they now face the Astros and their best pitchers. Meanwhile, the Red Sox, well, let's just say their pitching lineup this weekend, maybe it belongs in Worcester, not in Boston. Welcome here to Red Sox Digest, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to the show. As always, if you're new, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're covering the Boston Red Sox every single day of the year and all the way through the end of this season, of course. Now, let's recap the MLB trade deadline because it's not that hard when you only make two trades, Craig Breslow, for what you described as big-time buyers there. Great job, dude. The Red Sox literally at the buzzer, like 12 minutes before the trade deadline passed. The Red Sox acquired Dustin May from the Los Angeles Dodgers, which we now have reports the Dodgers weren't planning on starting Dustin May anymore. They were pushing him out and potentially even to AAA because they didn't know if even a long relief effort from him was going to be worth it. So that's great news. But Steven Matz was acquired in the day before the MLB trade deadline. I'm not going to crap on this move too much just because I do like Steven Matz. I think it is an adequate deal giving up Blaze Jordan, which was your 17th ranked prospect. So I'm not going to be too upset at this one, especially when the bullpen, who has been reused a ton, could use some help and depth. I don't mind that at all. So not going to mind that. But now we have to go with what we have past the MLB trade deadline, right? Well, we also have to remember there's this guy that also got traded. Now, I understand. Before you come at me in the comments saying, oh, he's been bad, the Giants have been bad with him, I understand. I'm not saying the Red Sox need him. But I want to bring him up because there is an important piece that I will describe in just a second of why he is being brought up in the trade that he was in, and maybe a pitcher who probably should be pitching for the Red Sox. But as I talk, let me show you who exactly is pitching this weekend for the Boston Red Sox, because it's not pretty. Tonight, we have Cooper Criswell. He is our starting pitcher. Now, I expect this to be a 3 to 4 inning role in which the bullpen will take over 6 innings. But then you're asking Walker Buehler and Dustin May in his first Red Sox start to accompany a lot of innings because they wanted to make sure that Garrett Crochet got a little bit of an extra rest just to kind of manage his workload going down into the stretch with a guy who has not been pitching a full season for his entire career until this season. So this is our pitching lineup this week. Cooper Criswell, Walker Buehler, and Dustin May. That's not great. But in all honesty, it's probably the best we got. Because if you kind of look at this depth chart, I don't mind our starters, but the fact that we got Dustin May and he is a number 5 on our depth chart is not what I wanted. I wanted a number 2 Craig Breslow. That's what I wanted. Again, Steven Matz, whatever, that's fine. But we're just at an interesting spot because Abraham Toro and Romy Gonzalez have been adequate at first base. I would have liked to seen something else, but media personalities, people across the league are saying how absolutely disappointing, frustrating, and not good the Red Sox trade deadline was. And now we have to move forward with the team we have and the pitching staff that we have here in this upcoming series. And so let's just go through the pitching matchups because I mentioned the Astros, they're pitching their best guys, right? So who do we have tonight? That's right. I'm not going to say Cy Young candidate because in the AL it's Tarek Skubal and Garrett Crochet, but a very, very good top-end pitcher, arguably one of the better pitchers in the AL, in Hunter Brown, who has a 2.54 ERA. It's okay, though, guys. It's okay. We have Cooper Criswell. He's 1-0, so 5.06 ERA. Who cares? He's 1-0. He's 1-0. 5 strikeouts in there. He's 1-0. He's 1-0. Are we seriously saying that Cooper Criswell deserves a spot on this rotation? Okay, fine. Well, that's fine. That's fine. No, we got Walker Buehler next day, right? Who's he going against? Well, he's going against Gordon. I honestly don't know this guy's first name. But he has a 4.74 ERA, which is better than Walker Buehler's. Less Ks, 4-3, pitched less, a left-handed pitcher. This is a decent pitching matchup. I could expect and see the Red Sox winning this game, especially since Buehler over his past couple starts, while maybe they haven't looked pretty, they have worked out. They have gone in the right direction, and the Red Sox have been able to, play well around it. So that's fine. And then you go to the last matchup, where you have, once again, another top-tier pitcher in the AL, and Framber Valdez, with a 2.62 ERA, an 11-4 record, and 141 Ks on the year. And we have Dustin May, the big trade acquisition for Mr. Craig Breslow. who said time and time again, we were getting uncomfortable. We tried. We were going for Joe Ryan. They just didn't say yes. It's their fault. Are we actually joking? Jared Carrabis stated that in the morning of the trade deadline yesterday, he got a text basically saying that it was an 85% chance that the Red Sox ended up with Joe Ryan and Craig Breslow did not get the deal done. Because apparently what the Twins wanted was one of their established outfielders. We're saying right now that we couldn't give up James Tibbs, who we already traded to the Dodgers, and Wilyer Abreu, who, granted, I understand, leading home runs, all that, he is a very streaky player, and gotten Joe Ryan out of that? And that wasn't a deal that was, come on. What are we doing? This is the second trade deadline in a row with Craig Breslow where I sit back and think this is absolutely disappointing. Besides the matter, I haven't gotten to rant on this, so just disregard all this stuff. It's all just backlog thoughts of stuff that we can and can't do, or should have done rather, because ultimately it's over. Nothing is changing now, and the team that we have, that's the team that we're going to go with. This is what we got. This is the roster we're going to go forward with, and that's okay. But I mentioned Rafael Devers and bringing him up. Why do I bring him up? Well, because the pitching lineup that we have, Cooper Criswell, Walker Buehler, and Dustin May. If you noticed in the intro, I had a picture of a guy in Worcester. That guy would be Kyle Harrison, who the Red Sox acquired in the Rafael Devers trade. Now, at the time, the Giants, when Rafael Devers was traded, were working towards being a divisional competitor and a wild card competitor in the NL. Since then, they have been terrible because, I don't know, Rafael Devers is a cancer to the organization. I don't know, whatever. But in the manner, Kyle Harrison, who is pitching at the major league level, has now gone down to AAA with the Red Sox and has been working on a couple of different pitches. Now, we know that those pitches have started to work out, and we are deciding that we're not going to bring him up, the guy that we traded for. Because, of course, the other guy we traded for, Jordan Hicks, he's up and he's doing great things, like walking in game-winning runs or walking the bases loaded. That's great. And Kyle Harrison, who is pitching today, lined up where they could pitch him instead of Cooper Criswell. He has a pretty good ERA, and his past 2 games has been excellent. How in the world is he not in Boston? I just continue to get frustrated at the management. And if Craig Breslow was right about Rafael Devers, so be it. But the management of prospects and the way to handle trades and using models to, get the best value out of people and doing all this, I understand it has its place in baseball. It's a statistical game. But you also have to have a feel for the organization. You have to have a feel for the players at hand. You have to have a feel for what is happening. And Craig Breslow, who played baseball, was a pitcher, was a smart guy at Yale. You'd think he'd have a feel for it. But he just doesn't have the feel of the game in my mind, in my opinion. Because there's one thing to be smart and know baseball and have the model and have the analytics and say this is what the analytics say and this is what and this is going to work. But it's a game. It's baseball. Analytics can take you far, but it can't take you the whole way. You have to make the right decisions. You have to make the tough moves. You have to be uncomfortable in letting people work out. Cooper Criswell is not the future here in Boston. Kyle Harrison is. You can bring him up now and have an extra year of control. Bring him up right now. Let him pitch this Friday against a good Astros team. Let him go out there and work. If it doesn't work, so be it. At this point, because of the horrible trade deadline you just put out there, I want more development because we're obviously not trying to win this year. And maybe we do win. Maybe the AL's bad. Maybe we get to the ALCS. Maybe we get to the World Series. I don't know. I would love that. But the moves we made make me not confident in any of that. They make me not confident in going to the ALCS. They make me not confident in getting anywhere in the playoffs. In fact, I would almost say they made me less confident in making the playoffs. And we are in a playoff spot right now. The fact of the matter is this. in 2 trade deadlines that Craig Breslow has been the GM of the Boston Red Sox. One of those trade deadlines, we were in a playoff position. That would be this one. And the other, we were a game and a half back. That was last one. And I'm not going to compare them because last year's trade deadline was also bad, but you had a better MLB trade deadline in last season in which you were a game and a half back in a good, or rather better American League than you do this year when you are in the playoffs, a game back of second place in the AL East, and really looking like a very good team as of late. And you decided that this team wasn't good enough to make the hard decisions and the big moves? Are you actually joking me? We have a right to be frustrated as fans. This has been a frustrating time. And Craig Breslow, I was starting to get back. Rafael Devers, maybe it worked out. Maybe that was the right move. I trust, okay, that worked out. There's stuff that he did, getting Garrett Crochet, Alex Bregman, all that stuff, okay. And then you ruin it by saying we're going to be buyers, and we're going to do this, we're going to buy these guys. After Rafael Devers, we're going to be buyers at the deadline. Good job. Good job. This is not enough. 2 players, reliever who I like. I'm not going to sit here and say that Matz is bad. And then Dustin May, who is not a front-end starter whatsoever. In fact, for the Dodgers, who are literally going to have a record for the amount of pitchers used this season, weren't even going to use it. I understand the Red Sox have a way of working with pitchers, and sometimes a change of location works it out, and Dustin May has a lot of potential. But for the value you traded for him, it is absolutely ridiculous. It felt like, oh, we're going to need him to do something, because if we don't do anything, it's going to be bad. Well, it's going to be bad either way. So now you got to face it, and we get to see the beautiful Cooper Criswell and Walker Buehler and Dustin May this weekend. So enjoy the games. Hopefully we win at least one of them. Don't get swept. I'll have confidence. I'll watch. Of course, listen, I've watched 162 games for the past 8 years now. I don't miss games, but watching Cooper Criswell start the game tonight is going to be one of the hardest things ever. So we'll see. Let me know in the comment section. How do you feel? Are you frustrated? Is this maybe an overreaction? Get in the comment section. Let me know, and we'll see you next time here on Red Sox Digest. Peace out, guys.